Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you why Solana is about to rip to $500, if not $1,000 in this bull market. I'm going to show you exactly why all the haters are wrong. I'm going to walk through every single argument about why Solana would not go to $1,000. I'm going to pick them apart, and I'm going to share with you exactly why our base case for Solana is $500 and our bull case is $1,000. We're going to be using technical analysis. We're going to be using charts. We're going to be looking at all of the arguments that the bears that are trying to fade Solana make, and I'm going to make sure you are ready to long our market here of Solana all the way back to all-time high and profit during the bull market. We're going to talk about exits, so without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. As you can see here, Solana is currently trading at $177. We originally rallied over just the last couple of months up to a very crucial level. It was $206 on Sol. And unless you're a technical analyst, you might not realize why $206 is such an important level. And you might not understand, okay, why didn't we go back to all-time high? That's what we did back here in January. Like, what gives? Why is Solana not just ripping straight to all-time high? And you might be a little bit, concerned. You see the Bitcoin dominance dropping here. You feel like altcoin season's starting, and then it doesn't. We don't go back to all-time high. What gives? Okay, well, if you're a technical analyst, it becomes very obvious why Solana stopped right here. Solana stopped right here because it's the 0.786 Fibonacci level. It sits at exactly $206 down here on the regular chart, and it's also the exact same level that we hit right over here after our massive run-up in March of last year following the approval of the Bitcoin spot ETFs and right before the approval of the Ethereum ETFs. We'll be talking about Solana ETFs in just a minute because we got some big news over there. But what we're seeing right now is Solana is going through a major rally. It's just in the first stages of it, guys. We are in the first innings. I'm about to show you why $500 on Solana is around the corner. And no, this is not hype. I'm being realistic. We're going to show you exactly why. But the first thing I need you to understand is that we stopped out at $206 because just like Bitcoin, Solana is now starting to build a healthy rally. Let's take a look at this little breakout that we've seen over the last month or so. Solana dropped all the way back down here to this level, which is the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level on Solana at $134. We bounced beautifully here. We also bounced off of the exact same level of support, that range around $125 that we established with a triple bottom back here in 2024. Absolutely beautiful bottom that we saw on Solana. We ended up breaking straight through the Fibonacci golden pocket where we stopped out at last time. As you can see, the Fibonacci golden pocket here on Solana sits right here between $164 and $172. We broke through the Fibonacci golden pocket, rallied up to 0.786. And now we're correcting. As you can see right now, Solana is finding beautiful support on the 20 daily exponential moving average, and it's also finding beautiful support on that Fibonacci golden pocket between 61.8 and 65%. This is so important because just about any time that a market rallies to the 0.786 Fibonacci level, that almost always means that it's going to go right back to all-time high, and that's what you're about to see happen on Solana. As soon as Bitcoin takes off to 135, starts to consolidate, you're going to see Solana take off back to all-time high, and within just a few months, you're most likely going to see Solana increase by 80% up to about $300. And we're going to break down what that looks like right now before we get into a bunch of fundamentals that we're going to be covering in just a minute. We're going to go through every single argument about why Solana's not going to do this. I'm going to pick them all apart, and you're going to send this video to your friends that are hating on Solana and fading your bags, and you're going to be like, I told you so. Jeb says where we're going to go, and he showed you why. All right, so Solana right now, as we are seeing, is finding support on the 20 daily exponential moving average. Should that fail, we also have support here on the Fibonacci golden pocket between 61.8 and 65%. Should that fail, we also have this uptrending level of support right here that Solana is using to build this rising trading channel here. Now, this is technically an ascending wedge, which oftentimes would break bearish to follow the primary trend, which would give us a price target of $36, although that doesn't make any sense. So sometimes when we have outlier data, we've got to chuck it and say this doesn't make any sense because every single other piece of data is pointing in the opposite direction. This is what we're looking at as an outlier. We see Solana rallied up to 0.786. We see it broke through 61.8 and 65%. This is the doorway back to all-time high. Solana is now using the doorway as support, so this is a very good sign. We could drop as low as $160 on Solana relatively soon and still be in fantastic shape, because not only would we be holding this short-term uptrending level of support, we would also be holding this longer-term uptrending level of support right now, which is underpinning the entire Solana market. These are incredible pieces of technical data that are giving us a strong reason to believe that the bottom for Solana is in down here. $100 is kind of like $100,000 on Bitcoin in the rearview mirror, will probably never be seen again, and Solana is about to start another rally, another leg back up to all-time high, probably looking something about like this. Now, let's talk about the long-term price targets. The same Fibonacci that is being validated by this market time and time and time again, being used as resistance right here on the 0.786, being used as support right here on the 0.5, being used as support on the 0.618. All of these Fibonacci levels have become valid. They've been validated time and time again. We even used 0.236 as a level of resistance back here when we were first taking off down about $60. So why would we not continue using the exact same Fibonacci to give us our price targets? Well, interestingly enough, these Fibonacci price targets are beautiful. The first Fibonacci price target sits here at 1.618, and it sits at $413.99. Our second Fibonacci price target is the 2.618, and it sits at $663 per Solana. And the 3.618 Fibonacci level sits right here beautifully at $913. But Jeb, how are you going to move a $95 billion market like Solana, which right now the market cap is literally $95 billion. Fair diluted market value is sitting at 107, right? How are you going to move a $95 billion market to the 3.618 Fibonacci extension level? Well, I would point you to the Bitcoin chart, which did just that during the last bull market. Bitcoin at the time was significantly larger than Solana. $100 billion market cap had been surpassed long before. And yet, Bitcoin, the big dog, moved to the 3.618 Fibonacci level at $65,300. If Solana were to move to the 3.618 Fibonacci level, then that would require Solana going all the way up, as we can see right over here. Let's get the chart to load. That would require Solana to go all the way up to $913. So is $1,000 in sight for this bull market? Absolutely it is. $1,000 is a possible price target for Solana. We're going to break down whether or not that makes sense again here in a minute. Like I said, we're going to go through all of the reasons that the haters are going to say, no, Jeb, you're wrong, but what about this? Okay, what about that? Okay, well, Jeb, what about this? What about that? You see what I'm doing there, right? Solana is going to go to $1,000. It's not a question of whether it's going to, it's a question of when. It is so well adopted. So my price target for the relatively short term, and by short term, I mean probably this year if alt season really pops off. It might wait until Q1 of next year, but whenever alt season really pops off, we're looking at bare minimum $413. Most likely top for this bull market is between 913 or 663 and 913. Somewhere between $650 and $1,000 is our price target for Solana for this cycle. Oops, sorry. Somewhere between $650 and $1,000 on Solana is our price target for this cycle, with a relatively short-term target of $413 being very, very realistic. So does it make sense that we could actually go there? Well, there's two different places that we want to go here. Number one, I want to talk about all of the things that Solana has had wrong that it is now doing extremely well. I also want to talk about, I guess there's three things. I also want to talk about the fundamental developments that are coming to Solana, because we're going to see ETFs online possibly as soon as September. And I also want to talk about the market cap. Now, that's the easiest one. Let's do a simple sniff test, BS test. This is called a realistic price target for a reason. Jeb, I didn't come here for hype and hopium. I am not the guy that's saying XRP is going to go to $589 because I know how to do simple maths, right? Let's do some basic math. If Solana were to increase from where it is right now at $177 to $913, that would be a 413% increase. That basically means if we come over here and we say Solana's market cap is $95 billion, what is a 413% increase from that? My friends, that would be about a $400 billion market cap for Solana to go to $1,000. Does a $400 billion market cap make sense? Well, Ethereum has a $458 billion market cap, and its all-time high is over $600 billion market cap. Okay, so now we've got to take this idea of, is it possible that Ethereum goes to $8,000 or $10,000, it's sitting at $1 trillion market cap, and Solana rallies up and it goes to a $400 billion market cap? Is that possible? Well, XRP is sitting at $185 billion market cap. Most of you guys think XRP is going to $6 to $10 this cycle. That put it at $600 billion. So absolutely, yeah, Solana could totally go to a $400% increase from where we are right now, $400 billion market cap. Totally fine. Makes total sense. $400 billion off of Bitcoin trading at 200K. It's sitting at, $4 trillion. Solana's 10% value of Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. And so now that we realize, okay, $400 billion for our absolute highest price target, which is $1,000 on Solana, is not absolutely insane. let's talk about whether or not that's actually going to happen. Okay, it's possible, but is it going to happen? Well, I first want to direct your attention here. About a week ago, the Rex Osprey Solana ETF and staking fund launched. Now, this is not the exact same kind of fund that we're about to see coming with Solana spot ETFs, but it is something that was approved by the SEC. They basically had to approve it. I'm not going to get into all of it today, but they essentially had to approve it because of the way the rules are set up. And this fund has already seen $135 million of inflows in just the last 2 weeks ever since it launched. Now, that's not a crazy amount, but it's also not a true Solana spot ETF. The spot ETFs are likely coming soon, but they're not here just yet. What we are most likely going to see are approvals for Solana before October. The first final deadline for a Solana spot exchange traded fund is October 10th, but the Securities and Exchange Commission is under pressure to keep the approval process moving smoothly, sources say. In case you didn't notice, SEC has basically been out with the old, in with the new, right? Gary Gensler is extremely unpopular. He will most likely go down in history as the single most unpopular commissioner that the Securities and Exchange Commission has ever seen. The new leadership over there, Paul Atkins, is not interested in that not interested in going down in history the same way. Hester Pierce is pushing for very much pro-cryptocurrency policy. The Securities and Exchange Commission has very rapidly, in just the last year, by the way, since it approved the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs, has moved to being very pro-crypto. In fact, there's a lot of political momentum in the Securities and Exchange Commission to be very pro-crypto. So there's a lot of reasons to believe that they are going to be pushing for spot ETFs on all kinds of cryptocurrency assets. The Securities and Exchange Commission asked prospective issuers to respond to comments and refile amended S1 documents before the end of July, which is today, July 31st. Two people familiar with the matter told CoinDesk. Why would SEC ask Solana filings? So we're talking about VanEck, we're talking about Grayscale, we're talking about all the others that are filing for Solana ETFs, because there's a bunch of them. Why would SEC ask for them to re-amend the S1 applications, which are the type of applications that are necessary to get a spot ETF approved, if they were not interested in approving them? If you were paying attention a year and a half ago when the Bitcoin ETFs were getting online, the exact same language was used with BlackRock. SEC under Gary Gensler, again, anti-crypto commissioner, anti-crypto board. Now we got a pro-crypto SEC. They were asking BlackRock and Fidelity and the others to amend their filings. Why? Because they wanted to approve them. The only other time that we've ever seen SEC say, we want you to amend your S1 filings, ended up with a dozen Bitcoin ETFs being approved on the same day in January of last year. And so this language gives us pause because it means that the Securities and Exchange Commission is almost certainly going to approve Solana ETFs before October. So let's back up. Can Solana go to a $400 billion market cap? Can Ethereum? It's got ETF. It's got like $20 billion of inflows. If you look at the Ethereum inflows so far, you are looking at a total, not 20 billion, sorry, you're looking at a total of $10 billion of inflows into Ethereum. Solana is its chief competitor, and by a lot of metrics, it's actually outperforming Ethereum when you look at its metrics compared to its market cap. It's more undervalued than Ethereum is, and Ethereum's exploding. So let's keep going here. We're almost certainly going to see Solana ETFs approved before October, probably in the month of August or September, so probably in the next 2 months, which means that this is an excellent place to get an entry. Because if the Solana ETFs get approved, you can only imagine how many billions of dollars are going to flow into those ETFs. And at some point in the next 24 months after they get approved, Solana is going to go absolutely insane. All right, now, like I told you, we're doing a comprehensive deep dive here. Let's also look at Solana's metrics against Ethereum. As you can see, Ethereum has still not returned to its last bull market TVL highs. It's still sitting at $82 billion. Whereas in the last market, it went all the way to $105 billion in TVL. Well, why is that? Because the total market cap TVL, total market TVL, is rapidly approaching previous market high. The reason for that, partially, is because Solana is doing so well. Solana is massively outperforming itself from the last cycle, even though Ethereum is not. You've got almost $10 billion in total value locked on Solana. Right now, you've got $83 billion of total value locked on Ethereum, but Solana's growing a lot faster. It also has, compared to Ethereum, about half the DEX volume. Today, Solana so far has seen $2.3 billion of DEX volume. Ethereum in the last 24 hours has seen $5 billion. But remember, it has 8 times the TVL, but only double the DEX volume? That's not really something that you want to see. Ethereum also has 5 times the market cap of Solana, but only 2 times the DEX volume. What gives? People are building a lot of new applications on Solana, and Solana is, albeit not past Ethereum, but it's gaining on Ethereum, which means it's an incredible prospect for Wall Street to invest in a new ETF, because it's like Ethereum, but it's the faster horse that's further behind in the race. You get a better entry and you get a bigger return. This is exactly what Wall Street is looking for, which is part of the reason why the Solana ETF is likely to be the next or the second next ETF approved. It's possible the XRP ETFs come before this, but we're almost certainly going to see the Solana ETFs coming much sooner. Okay, so let's talk about some of my concerns that I've had with Solana. I've had a lot of concerns with Solana, and they've mainly boiled down to 2 points. Let's talk about those. My first concern with Solana is that it goes down. Well, what gives? It's not supposed to go down. It's a cryptocurrency. Well, I want to just go ahead and show you why I'm so bullish on Solana right now. The last time that Solana saw a major outage was the 6th of February, 2024. You can go through status.solana.com and you can see that it has had exactly 0 downtime whatsoever in 16 months since last February. No incidents, no downtime, no nothing since February of last year. That is very exciting for me, because I only invest in reliable cryptocurrencies. I'm not buying into a cryptocurrency that's going to go down. I told you a year ago when this was happening, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, when it was being built, Rust, all of it, Anatoly Yakovenko, all of this. When it was being built, I said that if Solana didn't have outages, it would go to $1,000 a coin. Well, the outages have stopped. The ETFs are coming. Now it's going to $1,000 a coin, which is why I'm so happy that we hold so much of it. Right? It's one of our biggest altcoin holdings. It's going to go to $1,000 a coin. Now, it's probably going to have a bear market after that, but it's going to happen. Now, my other big concern that I wanted to break down for you is the actual inflation rate on Solana. Well, I'm really excited about this too, because right now the Solana inflation rate is dipping below the United States dollar inflation rate. Currently, the inflation rate on Solana is 4.38%, and that is declining with a final inflation, which will be hit at some point in the next several years, of 1.5%. The initial inflation rate was 8%, which was far above USD, which led to this spread between the price action chart of Solana and the actual market cap chart of Solana. I talked for a long time about how much I do not like the inflation that we're seeing on Solana, right? You can see the difference in the price and the market cap chart here. The reason that the market cap chart here is so much higher than the price chart, and we're at and we have more market cap right now in Solana than we did at the all-time high of the last cycle, was because of the inflation. But that inflation has slowed down dramatically. It's now at 4.38%, and before you know it, it's going to be below 4%. Before you know it, it's going to be below 3%. So we're getting to a point on Solana where inflation on the actual Solana protocol is lower than the inflation on the United States dollar. And so effectively, if you have 4% inflation on the USD, CPI headlines at about 3%, but let's be honest, it's more like 4 or 5%. If you have, let's say, a 4% inflation and Solana's inflating at 3%, then it's actually gaining value by 1% every year because it's inflating slower than the United States dollar. Don't believe me? Here is the last 50 years of US CPI data and M2 money growth. You will see that there's virtually no point in time here that you saw money supply, M2 money supply, increase at anything less than 3%. And there have been many times lately, including right now, that M2 money growth is more like 4.62%. If you look at the last, 5 years here or so, you will see that right now, M2 money growth is 5%. CPI is headlining down here at 2.67%, but that's an absolute load of nonsense, and we all know it is. So Solana's inflation rate right now is in the middle of dipping below the United States dollar's inflation rate, which means it's not going through this kind of deflationary bull market like we see on Bitcoin, where the inflation rate is basically nothing, but it is below the US dollar's inflation rate, which basically allows the inflation to vanish, which means that my 2 big concerns about Solana, which was its inflation and its outages, are both gone, which makes me a fan of Solana because I actually think it's significantly faster than Ethereum. It's about to have some updates in just the next little while that are going to drop finality down to about 100 milliseconds. There's so much transactional throughput, and Wall Street sees that. They realize that Bitcoin is digital gold, and they also realize that Ethereum is digital oil, more or less. So they're going to realize that Solana is basically like digital natural gas, I guess. I don't know where you go on the analogy there, but Wall Street realizes that. And you will see, here's the first of multiple predictions I'm about to make, you will see Solana's inflows on its ETF be greater than $5 billion within the first year, which will far outstrip gold's initial inflows back in the 2000s when it launched. It might not be as high as Ethereum because it's still 1/5 the size of Ethereum for market cap, but you will see at least $5 billion worth of inflows into Solana within 1 year of those ETFs being approved, and I expect those ETFs will be approved by October. That is our first prediction. Solana ETFs approved by October of this year, which will lead to at least $5 billion of inflows into those ETFs within 1 year. That means before October 1st of next year, you will see $5 billion of inflows, if not 10 or 15, but at least $5 billion of inflows into Solana ETFs that I expect to be approved in the month of August or September of this year. That's our first prediction. Second prediction, in this bull market, I predict that you will see Solana rally to, at bare minimum, this is like worst case scenario, bare minimum, Solana will rally to $420 in this cycle to rally to 1.618. That is my bear case. My base case price prediction for Solana is that we'll rally to $660, the 2.618 Fibonacci extension level. Here in this bull market, this is my base case price prediction, $660 on Solana. And my bull case, which I think is very realistic, is $913 to $1,000 in this bull market. I expect worst case scenario, $420 on Solana, which is a growth rate of about 130% from where we are right now, a base case of $600 and a bull case of nearly $1,000 on Solana. How should you cycle out of this? As you pass $400, $420, you might want to take some profit. If we get up to $660, you might want to take some profit. If we get to $1,000, absolutely take some profit, because that's like a 20x that Solana will have witnessed during this bull market. I'm very confident that Solana is an incredible play still for this cycle because alt season has barely even begun. It's still off in the future. It's one of the reasons that we think lengthening cycles might be happening. And also, I believe that Solana is becoming an excellent long-term play. I think that you're going to see Solana at $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a coin, not now, but maybe 10, 15 years down the road because of how much is being built out on Solana. Stablecoins are being built out on Solana. DEXs are being built out on Solana. DeFi, lending, all of it's being built out on Solana. Aave's big over there, right? So I think that Solana is about to go absolutely crazy, and I'm very excited to see where it goes in this cycle. I would love to hear your opinions. Where do you think that Solana is going to go? Look, I want to trade some of these breakouts, and I'm very excited to do that. So I highly encourage you, if you have not already, to sign up for 2Bit. That is the trading platform that we trade with. And hold on, before you click off, I'm going to give you some free stuff. When you sign up for 2Bit, you are not only going to be getting some money for free. When you deposit $100, you're going to get $30 just for free. Just like that. Boom. Deposit $100, get $30. It's really that simple. After that, you're also going to get $50 just for registering in 2 minutes. All you got to do, sign up, deposit, you get $80, just like that. But then when you trade on perps for the first time, you're going to get $1,000. Boom, just like that. You made $100 into $230. But wait, it gets better, because when you sign up for 2Bit and deposit $100, send a screenshot of your deposit and your UID, your user identification number, right? Send a screenshot to MalachiPats@CryptoJeb.com. Links in the description box down below, and you will get into our Discord server, which is absolutely exploding. We've got so much data over here. This is where we all trade together. This is where we all do our price predictions together, and this is where you get our videos before YouTube gets our videos. So make sure to sign up over here. See exclusive charts that only go up in the first cohort. See all of my technical analysis whenever I go into a trade, whenever I make an investment, whenever I take an exit. I post all of it in the Discord server first, and you can get into the first cohort for free for a year when you sign up for 2Bit. Deposit $100 and enjoy the very best trading experience that you can find anywhere in crypto. It is the best trading platform anywhere in the crypto game. It's where I do all my trading. That's where all of our fans do all of our trading. And there's a big trading competition coming up with $3 million in the prize pool that I would love for you to be able to take part in, because I know that we're going to be getting a chunk of that. So make sure that you sign up right now, supports the channel, get access to a great exchange, get into our amazing Discord server, get some free money. I don't know what kind of offer could be better than that. So make sure that you do that. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy today's content, make sure to tune in for the next one. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.